Now today we are going to talk about a topic that no one wants to really talk about these days, which is you cut your fabric, you sew your fabric, you make this beautiful quilt top, but it kind of looks homemade. It's not quite professional. Your seams don't lay quite right, your blocks didn't come together quite right. We're going to address the reasons why, and we're going to talk about 5 simple ways that you can go ahead and fix that for yourself to make sure you get these professional looking quilts every single time. Let's just face it, quilting is not an inexpensive hobby. Especially when you're purchasing amazing machines, the notions, the rulers, and all the beautiful fabrics out there, and you're buying the top tier products here, you should be getting a top tier result. So I've got my fat quarters here. When I open up these fat quarters, you're gonna see the wrinkles. So I've got some seam or fold lines, kind of a harsh one right there down the middle. And obviously since they're fat quarters, they are all going to have the kind of the same look to them. People start off on the wrong foot right from the get-go. High heat, lots of steam, trying to kind of push out all those wrinkles there. We are actually adding a large amount of moisture into our fabric, making it expand a little bit and distorting its shape. Now, obviously, when we're just dealing with a fat core, we're about to cut this up anyways. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. However we're starting is how we need to finish. What I mean by that is if I'm going to iron this all out, I need to be true and consistent all the way through my project. If I'm a starcher, I need to start starching at this stage, not when I have quilt blocks. So you kind of have to pick on how you want to start off this project. And additionally, I'm a starcher myself. I have 3 different starches here. Pick one for the entirety of your project. That way there's no distortion in it. I want to show you what I mean by distortion. This is a fat quarter here. I'm going to just cut off like a 1-inch piece here. So this is 1 inch by 19 inches, just kind of what came off my fat quarter there. I'm gonna show you guys what will happen. I'm gonna get my steam pump in here, and I'm gonna steam and kind of pull this all the way down and iron back and forth. Now let's go right back to measuring. Now just going back and forth, you saw me do it 2 times there. This piece has stretched out 1/2 inch. You can see how distortion starts happening. And also when all the water and stuff starts evaporating out of this, it's going to then shrink back down a little bit. So it's important that whatever we're doing, we're staying really consistent with it. I'm not here to tell you this is the way to do it or that's the way to do it, because everyone's gonna do it a little bit differently, but consistency matters. But let me show you this. I've got some old school best press here. I'm gonna throw some spray on this and I'm gonna press. But I wanna show you guys what has happened. That piece, I first ironed it, it stretched out. Now that I've added lots of moisture to it, this best press here, I have grown here about 1/8 of an inch on a 1-inch piece. Reason being, the more water and more moisture that we add into this, the further it's going to expand or contract depending on what product that you're using. If I hit this with tons of heat now, it's going to contract a little bit because we're going to eliminate all that steam. I'm not saying there is a right way or a wrong way, it's the consistency. If you're going to use starch, use 1 starch through the entire project. If you're going to press, which is the most accurate by far, press all the way through. If you're going to do the all over ironing, make sure you're consistently doing that. The consistency is what's going to give you that little bit of edge on your project. Now it's time to start cutting, and we're going to go to tip number 2 here. Cut the most precise that you possibly can. 1/8 of an inch difference, not that big of a deal. It depends. If you're doing 1 quilt block, you're right. 1/8 of an inch difference, not a big deal. No one's gonna know. 1/8 of an inch difference in every block here is a difference of over 1 inch. Now, if you even go even smaller, if it's per seam, 1/8 of an inch difference, this quilt would be different side to side over 6 inches. A little bit off, multiple times over, becomes a great problem. So this is what I always tell people to do. Take your time. Invest in a non-slip ruler if you have problems with cutting straight or with things shifting on you. Take your time. It's okay to not rush your project. I'm going to flush cut off one side, knowing that I have a straight edge now. Now that I've got my nice piece here, it's time to cut down the pieces that I need. In my case, guys, I'm going to be making a simple churn dash block. So I know I need 2 5-inch squares, and then I also need 4 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. I'm going to just be kind of cutting this up as we go today. The least amount of times that you touch your fabric, the better off it's going to be. What I mean by that, every time we iron, every time we starch, every time we pick up the fabric and move it around, we are distorting the actual size of the material, which I'm going to go ahead and show you guys here in just 1 second. So that right there is my 5-inch strip. Now, what everyone likes to do is they take this and they kind of throw it off to the side, because we're going to just cut all this down. You should move it a little bit and keep cutting, and move it a little bit, move it a little bit. Try not to pick this up and fold it. Try not to crumple it, because the weight alone of fabric can stretch out that fabric a little bit. Is it this critical? No, but it gives you that little advantage over everyone else. It gives you that look of like those blocks came together perfectly. There's just little teeny tips throughout this video. And like I said, I need some 2.5-inch strips. I'm actually gonna cut a 4.5-inch strip and then subcut it down. So I've got a perfect 5-inch square here. I'm gonna cut some more for the project. If you take this piece of fabric here, and I just go like this to it, okay, so everyone just saw that? I just pulled on it that much, not hard. It is now out of square by almost 1/4 inch in only a 5-inch square. The more we're touching and moving this fabric, the more the fibers are gonna loosen up, and the more they're going to open up and distort your fabric. Additionally, if I take this back over to my iron and I add a lot of steam or a lot of water to this, it's not gonna go back to what it was. It's gonna continuously stretch out. So now at this point, I'm 1/4 inch off, and I'm 1/8 of an inch wider than where I started. Not a big deal if it was one quilt block. But again, like this quilt behind me, if each one of these blocks is off, it's gonna be a huge problem in the end. So to prevent that, super simple. You're gonna cut your blocks. I'm gonna simply move this to the side, cut my next one. I'm gonna be careful with it, you know, line those up. And then the more stacked that I have on top of each other, the more they're gonna hold themselves together. These will sit like that and be perfectly the same size for the rest of ever, as long as I'm not adding moisture to it, taking out a lot of moisture to it, or stretching the fabric. So I'm gonna pull those aside there. I've got my 4.5-inch width here. I'm gonna now subcut it to be 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. You don't really have to worry about distortion as much in some fabrics. Like flannel fabric, for instance, not very common that it distorts and stretches. It's got a different weave to it. Batik, on the other hand, has a lot more threads per square inch. And so when it stretches, it really, really stretches. So I've gone ahead and cut those. I'm gonna do that now in my white, and then we're gonna move on to the next principle. And you can tell, guys, those are nice 90-degree angles. Everything looks right, because we take our time when we cut, and additionally, we don't let the problem compound over itself. Now going on to our next principle, which is our sewing. We're all doing our best, and some of us, like myself, can't sew a straight line. It's okay, everyone take a deep breath. There are a couple core principles that will help us tremendously as we're learning. And we're making simple half square triangles today. So I just need to add a line corner to corner all the way down so I can sew a half square triangle. You see 1, 2, you're good. Don't be pushing this so hard that you're moving your fabric. Light passes, do 2 passes if you need to. You get a beautiful line all the way down there. Now I've got my lines marked here. I'm gonna go ahead and put my fabrics right sides together. And I'm gonna sew a 1/4 inch seam away from that line there. Now don't add too much pressure here on the top, because if I'm holding my fabric down as the machine is trying to feed the fabric through, I'm stretching the fabric. Let the machine do what it wants to do. Something that we should get into the habit of doing when you're first starting out a project, maybe you're doing something new, whip out that ruler, measure that seam. You can see right here, and I'm gonna point it out just like the quilt police, I kind of flared out at the very end. Just having that in your brain that that's what happened. I sewed it all the way through, I check it, hey, I flared out here. You're gonna look for that on the next one. Now, don't drive yourself crazy with this, but checking once or twice throughout your project helps tremendously so that you can start compensating for those little errors. It is a perfect seam all the way down, and have that flare out. Now, it doesn't matter if you're the best quilter on the planet. Sometimes fabrics react differently on your sewing machine. That's why you want to get in the habit of making sure you have that true 1/4 inch seam. So let's go ahead and finish this off. I prefer to use the Clearly Perfect Slide trimmer ruler when I'm squaring up my blocks. Which brings me to principle number 4, is that you cannot miss this step. Even if I sewed so good, I even made sure that I had that perfect 1/4 inch seam, this block still isn't going to be perfect. What we want to do first is we're going to press open our seams. I'm going to try to get it open and press down. You can see here that there's no more room for that fabric to go. It's a perfect press all the way down. These are 5-inch squares. I'm going to be trimming them down to 4.5-inch squares. A bunch of different ways to do it. The easiest is if you have the right size square. This is a 4.5-inch square. I've got my 45-degree angle on this square. So I'm simply gonna line up my 45-degree angle on top of my block, push down on it, I'm gonna cut all the way around, makes it perfectly square. But you can see here, that's about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch. I've got at least an 1/8 of an inch, even a little bit more on that one there. I mean, look how much came off that one little block there. Squaring up is essential in quilting. Take the time to do it. It'll go together so much better, and it's gonna alleviate all your stress. Imagine all of this in one seam, how much that will add either up and down or side to side. That isn't supposed to be there. So it's essential, trim out your blocks and take your time on it. Now it's time to start assembling our quilt block. We're doing a churn dash block. And so let's go ahead and start making it up. At this point, it is time to sew up our quilt block. I'm gonna sew these 2 pieces together, these 2 pieces together, same thing on this side, same thing on that side. Then I'm gonna sew my rows together, and then I'll have my finished quilt block, which is gonna bring us to our next principle, which is the finishing of a quilt block. Let's start by sewing up our little strips here. All my pieces are sewn. We're at the row stage. I'm gonna make my rows. Everyone gets this part wrong. They stretch their quilt blocks. It is so important not to do this, and it's our final little principle for you guys. Don't stretch the quilt block. Put them right sides together. And when you're dealing with 4 inches of space, 4.5 inches of space in this, it's really hard to stretch this. Is it possible? Yes, but it's really hard to stretch this. As we're building upon this quilt block, when we go to do this seam here, it's no longer 4 inches of space, it's now 12 inches of space. And that keeps going to be from 12 inches to 90 inches of space. And fabric moves. We've done all that we can to make sure it doesn't move on us. And so we need to do all that we can now to keep it from stretching. Just a little pro tip here that you should practice if it is all possible, which is called nesting seams. I want this seam to go this way. It's going into my block. I want this seam to go away from the center of my block, which allows it so that those 2 seams aren't trying to line up in a row with each other, that they're on opposite sides of the seam. Helps things nest together, gives you a better point pretty much every single time. And like I said, doing a 4-inch seam, not very much stretching. A 12-inch seam, you can have quite a bit of stretching. It is so easy to solve this problem of that stretching, and it's all done right when you take it to your sewing machine. So I'm going to take these, I'm going to put my seams together. I'm going to use clips because I've got them. This is what everyone does, is they take this piece of fabric, and after doing all that hard work, put our needle down, and what does the person do? They grab onto this. They try to hold it up. They try to keep it straight by using this back end of this block. If you leave your block down a little bit, and we don't add any weight to this, it's not gonna stretch on us. I'm not gonna pull this towards me. I'm also not gonna put my hands on top of it. So I'm simply going to just guide it left and right. So it looks like, and this is where people get really confused, it looks like I'm putting my whole hand on top of this thing and adding lots of weight. That's what it looks like. That's why everyone does it. I'm simply, gonna make sure my point stays down. I'm gonna help this seam fold the right direction. I'm not gonna add any additional weight to this project. My points are all matching. I didn't end up with like an extra 1/4 inch on one side or the other. And guys, I see this happen all the time. Someone has like a border that they're doing, and they put it all into their sewing machine, they're ready to sew, and they grab onto that border, they grab onto their project, they kind of pull them together. After putting in so many seams into your quilt block, your borders are gonna stretch way more. And so they end up having an extra inch at the end. They're like, I thought I cut this right. They did. They actually stretched their project out that much. Now it's time to finish this project up, give it a good iron. And now guys, even though this quilt block looks amazing, it's time to do our very last check here. I should have a 12.5-inch quilt square. I am so close. I'm off maybe a 1/16 of an inch on this side, and I'm off about the same on the top there. So all I'm gonna do is, again, going back to that third principle there, was square this thing up. Don't forget the steps. Don't rush these steps. We've worked really hard to make a beautiful quilt square. Even with all that work, they're still off by, 1/8 of an inch. But now at this point, I can say with full confidence that that quilt square is amazing. Not that it's perfect. We're dealing with a material that moves, that shifts, and we're also dealing with the human element. We want them to be homemade. We want them to look amazing. But additionally, you want them to look professional. You want them to look at the highest standard possible, because you're giving these to loved ones. You're giving these to people, real people, who are going to love and cherish your quilts forever and ever. Which brings me, guys, to my last little tidbit for you, is this is a hobby. Enjoy it. Take your time on your projects. Make sure they're at the highest standard possible, or to the highest standard that you would like them to be. If you don't mind having a little bit of wonk to your block, it's totally okay. No one's gonna judge you for it. However, if you're trying to figure out how to improve your quilting skills, and additionally, if you want to figure out how you get that wonkiness out of your block, is the whole point of this video. That way, each and every one of us can continue to progress in this amazing craft and this amazing hobby. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't be afraid to share it with your friends. As always, down in the description below, check out soyaquilting.com. There's a little link down there. If you need any fabric, maybe some new grunge, maybe you want to pick up a new quilt kit, make sure you're checking out soyaquilting.com for all your quilting needs. And additionally, while you're down there, you might as well check out the comment section and let us know what other videos you'd like to see from us. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.